The Blues dropped the second game of the back-to-back to the Columbus Blue Jackets 6-4 on a Saturday night in Columbus. The Blues now sitting at 19, 18, and 4 on the season, a game that was back and forth and had different swings to it. Early on, very defensive, 2-0 through 2, Columbus was up, and then the third period happened and everything went crazy out of nowhere. So I'm going to break that all down in this one, some players that stood out good for us and bad for us, and what to look forward to moving forward after this kind of tough loss, not gonna lie. So welcome everybody to the Blues Reaction Show. I'm your host, AJ Nance. If you're watching or listening over there on YouTube, make sure to like the video and subscribe. And if you are listening on Spotify or Amazon Music, make sure to go follow over there as well and give us a rating. 5-star would be amazing, would really help get our name out there a little bit more. But as I said, the Blues dropped this one 6-4 to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and it was 2-0 after 2 periods in this one. The Columbus Blue Jackets got a a late goal with 1 minute left in the first period. They made it 1-0 on Joel Hofer, who was in net. In the second period, Marchenko got a goal that made it 2-0, and this wasn't a lack of chances for the St. Louis Blues. We had several chances. Brandon Saad had a breakaway opportunity in the first period. There was a couple opportunities. I believe it was the first, might have been the second period, where there was back-to-back plays. It was a 2-on-1 chance. Kyrou made a tremendous move and got right around the defenseman, and Merzlikins stopped him. Elvis Merzlikins was the star of the night. He was unbelievable, and yes, we got to him a little bit in the third period, but overall, that guy was standing tall in net for the Columbus Blue Jackets. As I mentioned, 2-0 after 2 periods. We go into the third period, and that's when it got all crazy from there. Every chance we had to get right back into it, Columbus had an answer. It was 2-0. Philip Broberg draws a penalty, and I'm thinking this is a chance for us to get back in this, score a goal on this power play early in the third period, make this game a 2-1 game, and anything can happen. 10 seconds into the power play, we turn the puck over. Obviously, we have 4 forwards, which is normal on the power play, 1 defenseman. I forgot the name of the guy off the top of my head here. I can try to find it real quick. It might have been Patia. Patia, it might have been. Yes, it was that shorthanded goal by Patia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Pyyhtia. But he drove right past Brandon Saad, who was on the back end because of the power play situation. A lot of speed, went forehand, backhand, and put it by Hofer. And then, obviously, we kept the power play. Jordan Kyrou gets a goal on that power play, his 17th goal of the season to make it a 3-1 game. I'm like, oh, man, we're right back in it again. Not even a minute later, and Adam Fantilli scores his 8th goal of the year. Now it's 4-1. A minute later, Cam Fowler scores for the St. Louis Blues here. He gets his 4th goal of the year. It's 4-2. A minute later, Voronkov gets his 15th of the year to make it 5-2. It was just a 2-goal game, then a 3-goal game, a 2-goal game, then a 3-goal game, and we could not cut that deficit. Now, about 5 minutes after that Voronkov goal, his 2nd goal of the night, I must add, Colton Parayko had an absolute howitzer off a drop-off pass from Pavel Buchnevich to get his 7th goal of the season already for Parayko. And actually, if I do my math correctly here, we are 41 games into the season as of tonight after this game. So we are halfway through the season. We are sitting at a very mid-record here, middle of the pack, 19, 18, and 4. But obviously, the momentum and the vibe around the squad has been a lot better as of late, and I think there's a much better second half of the season in store for the Blues. I should mention it was 5-3 after that Parayko goal, his 7th of the year, as I mentioned. We get down to about 3.5 minutes left or so. We pull Hofer. We go a 6-on-5, kind of a scramble in front of the net. Off I believe it was Cam Fowler's shot. It might have been Neighbors. And Shen kept whacking at it and poked it in. His 8th goal of the year to make it 5-4. And then we have a chance. 6-on-5. We have an empty net. And Cam Fowler, with about a minute left, kind of forced this pass to Jake Neighbors up the middle. Olivier stole it, puts in his 10th goal of the year as the empty net game winner to make it 6-4. So period number one, period number two, very defensive. Both teams. I think, my opinion, Hofer was very solid in net, held his own. That last goal, or the last minute goal in the first period, wish we could have gotten that one back. Marchenko with a really nice goal in the second period. But overall, I thought Hofer was really solid. I thought our defensive group and forward group was pretty solid defensively. We did turn it over a couple times on our own end, and you hate to see that, kind of putting Hofer in a tough spot. But yeah, overall, I mean, we had our chances, and the guy that stole this game, because as crazy as the third period was, I think the game was decided in the first two periods because we had several scoring chances, odd man breaks, and we could not put it in the back of the net because of how unbelievable Elvis Merzlikins was in this one. So shout out Merzlikins. This is a Columbus team. You had the tragedy of the Johnny Gaudreau incident this past offseason, and they are playing very motivated. Yes, they're in the middle of the pack right now, 17, 17, and 6, kind of around where we are. But this is a team that's playing for something bigger, and you can tell by how they play. A lot of energy, and it was really those first two periods that stole the game tonight with Elvis Merzlikins. Absolutely phenomenal and net for them. A couple things. At one point, we were being outshot 22-6 in this one. Now, yes, Columbus was kind of peppering Hofer quite a bit, and that's how those shots came to be. But we just could not get a rhythm. We could not, first couple power plays, we could not get possession of the puck. It was kind of just bouncing around, and shout out Columbus for defending that very well. But overall, I just felt like it was really hard. Besides those couple scoring opportunities, it was really hard to get possession of the puck to make something happen. I think there was one of those nights the puck was kind of bouncing around until that third period came around. Then it seemed like, and obviously being outshot after two periods, I don't know if I can pull that one up, but halfway through the second period, it was 22-6. And we go into the third period, I believe it was with, I want to say 17 shots or 16 shots or so. And I'm thinking we got to get at least 30, and we got to start throwing some pucks on net because it was one of those nights, unless you had a grade A opportunity, a perfect chance, open opportunity to score on Merzlikins, it was going to have to be one of those dirty goals to get past him. And that's what it was. Kairu's goal came on the power play, kind of bounced right in front of the net. Actually, a really good pass from Holloway to Kairu right in the middle of the net after like a little scramble in the corner. He found Kairu, really good shot there. Cam Fowler's came off a rebound. Colton Parayko's was one of those grade A, I mean, top of the notch goals, howitzer from him. And then Shen's was a cram it, jam it at the front of the net kind of goal as well. So it was one of those nights where you had to I think it was a little too late in a sense where I think if we would have hopefully gotten to the opportunity to kind of pepper Merzlikins a little more in the second period, maybe we could have gotten one then, and that would have changed the whole dynamic of the third period from going down 3-0 and trying to make a comeback there. It could have been 2-1 with some momentum, and we wouldn't have to try to crawl our way back and try to get back into it. So would have liked to see that, but I thought the third period offensively was really solid. They had a couple goals that were, I mean, whether it be I believe it was the second Voronkov one that was really high level, high class, backhander, top shelf over Hofer that was hard to stop. But the Fantilli one was right by Hofer. That was a very savable shot that Hofer let through. You have the shorthanded one by the Patia driving past Saad on just a kind of fluky play there. So I'm not overall with this match going to look into it too much and say it ruins what we have going right now. This is the second night of a back-to-back where we obviously played really well last night. And as well as Hofer has played, he had his ups and downs tonight. And a lot of shots in the first two periods. I don't want to say that wore him down, but that could be a little mental fatigue there because he just did not look as sharp in the third period, even with a couple of those goals being more on the fluky side. I did think that we did a lot of things well in this one, especially the first two periods. I know we didn't get a lot of shots on net, but when we did, they were good opportunities at the net. I mentioned Brandon Saad already. He had a really good opportunity, tried to go 5-hole as he did the last game with 2 goals coming from the 5-hole, and went forehand, backhand, and Merzlikins shut that down just as he did everything else, it seemed like, on the night. Let's see, Merzlikins 29 for 33 on the night, and I want to see what they have as the first star of the game, because I think it has to be him, even though he gave up 4 goals. They have Voronkov, and they don't even have Merzlikins in the top 3 on the ESPN app, but he was unbelievable, and I know we got a couple in the third period, but he was very, very good in this one. A couple players that stood out for us in this one, I thought they did very well. Obviously, Kyrou with the goal and the assist. Dylan Holloway has a really dynamic ability about him that I did not think we were going to be getting from him. He's really quick with the puck, really, really nimble and swift with it, and very, very much impressed me in this one. Really good to also see Braden Shen, his 8th goal of the year, another game with a goal for him. And the guy that stood out the most for me tonight was Pavel Buchnevich. Yes, he wasn't even on the ice, only had the 1 assist to Parayko. He had a couple right on the tape passes that there was a tremendous backhand pass around center ice along the boards, hit Brandon Saad immediately, I mean, perfectly on the run there. And I think that was the breakaway that Brandon Saad missed the opportunity. But Pavel Buchnevich had several passes like this. Had one right in front of the net where kind of deflected wide. I believe that one was to, it might have been Kyrou in the front of the net. It might have been Saad as well. I'm trying to remember. But he had a tremendous pass right in front of the net to him. I mean, Buchnevich was putting us in a lot of scoring opportunities, and we just could not capitalize on it. So overall, though, and he also had that drop-off pass to Parayko for that goal as well. So I was really impressed with Buchnevich's game. I think he's getting more to his best form halfway through this season, and I'm excited to see what he can do in the second half of the season, because I think he can put up even bigger numbers of what he's doing right now. The one guy that didn't do a whole lot visibly for me tonight, and also, I mean, he didn't have any points, -1 on the ice, and that was Robert Thomas. And again, not too concerned about Robert. He is obviously the face of this franchise, but would have loved to see him a little more involved in this one. I just think Columbus defended him well, obviously, and Thomas is going to be a guy that's going to be the number 1 guy on the scouting report for any team moving forward here, and I think he's got to kind of adjust to that as this season goes on. But I guess one more thing here before we wrap it up. We did see another Tyler Tucker scrap. It was short-lived, though, with him and Olivier. Olivier's a big guy and a good fighter at that. So was kind of looking forward to that matchup right when they dropped the gloves. And then Olivier, whenever they met, tried to get position, and Tucker slipped and fell on the ice within 2 seconds of them embracing there. So not much of a fight there, but Tucker's always willing to throw hands, and he was once again willing to do it there. Let's take a quick look at what's coming this upcoming week with that snowstorm coming here in St. Louis. The Blues are on the road. They go to Minnesota, which is going to be a very tough matchup and a very much needed day off on Monday and Sunday and Monday to recover after this back-to-back matchup, so we can get well rested and prepared for the Minnesota Wild. I would love to see Radek Faksa back in the lineup for a matchup like that. I think he's a good veteran defensive style player in that matchup. And obviously you would love to see Justin Falk back in the rotation as well, as Scott Perunovich has been getting his minutes. But yeah, we got the Minnesota Wild on Tuesday at 7 o'clock at Minnesota, and then we play the Ducks at home at 7 on Thursday, and then we're back at it on Saturday at home versus the Columbus Blue Jackets once again. So after this Wild game, and I mentioned it in the reaction show yesterday, after this Minnesota Wild game, we have the Ducks, the Blue Jackets, the Flames again for a back-to-back at home, and then the Utah Hockey Club. So if you can grind out this Minnesota Wild game, find a way to upset them on their home ice, and then you have 5 extremely favorable games moving forward. I know this Blue Jackets game, we play them again in that stretch, and I mean, we're a better team than the Columbus Blue Jackets. I just think Elvis Merzlikins stole the show for the first 2 periods, and that's why they won tonight. they're not going to be easy, and I don't think the Flames will be easy or the Utah Hockey Club. And shoot, the Ducks are right around 500 too. But these are 5 games that you can that you're favored in. Yeah, I think unanimously you will be favored in these matchups. So you got to take care of business, and hopefully we do that starting on Tuesday with the Minnesota Wild. That'll be definitely one to keep an eye on. So, yeah, thanks guys for listening to this Blues reaction show. I will see you guys on Monday for the St. Louis High School basketball recap and preview episode that we do every Monday. So be on the lookout for that one as well. Go subscribe and like the video on YouTube. Follow and rate the podcast on Spotify and Amazon Music. And, of course, go follow us on all social media, especially Instagram and TikTok, for daily St. Louis sports content. And I will see you guys on Monday.